Hey y'all, it's me, Dr. Funk from Thrash or Die, putting up a little video just to give a little heads up of what I've been up to lately. Well, actually, Kiss news. You know, we all know what's going on between Paul Stanley and Dee Snider. And I gotta say, what's up? I mean, what's up with both of them? I gotta say, I'm a huge fan of both, really. I mean, I may come off as a Paul hater, but I'm not. I worship Paul Stanley, man. I even love Monster. I mean, I don't love everything he does, obviously. I don't love everything anybody does, really. I mean, unless they're Black Sabbath with Bill Ward, but that's a whole other story. But I'm a huge fan of Paul Stanley. I want to get that out of the way first. I think he's a mega talent who's wrote some of my favorite songs, you know? If you look at my Kiss Top 20, whatever I did, a lot of it's Paul. Paul is a genius. I think he's a musical genius. But I gotta say, man, and Dee Snider to me is one of the greatest frontmen. Yes, I know a lot of you Kiss fans are not gonna like this, but I do feel like live, Dee Snider's better. The better frontman. I know what you're gonna say, but I'm more into the spontaneousness of Dee Snider, the way he's up there and he goes with the vibe. Paul Stanley's more like a script. Like, people rock and roll, and then, you know, he pretty much says the things in every town. Same thing every town. Dee Snider is off the cuff, makes shit up, and Twisted Sister is amazing live. I know a lot of people don't agree. They don't like Twisted Sister. They like Kiss more, especially a lot of you on this channel. I know. But here's my thing I want to say. Before I get into the Paul and Dee battle, I want to say this. Dee Snider lately has been disappointing me with certain things that he said, like he really attacked Doug Aldrich a lot. Now, he does have a point. You know, Doug Aldrich did not write, you know, any of those Whitesnake hits. You know, he's not part of the popular lineup. He's somebody that came later. I understand what he's saying, but at the same time, dude, Doug Aldrich is a great guitar player, and he's paid his dues. He was in Lion. He was in Dio. He did a great album with Dio, Killing the Dragons, which I reviewed in my Eternal Nightmare channel. Check it out. And I dig him. I dig Doug Aldrich. And yeah, you know, he did that Whitesnake album, and it wasn't, you know. And then what happened was he stopped with Doug Aldrich. He kind of apologized too that he singled Doug Aldrich out. But then he went to Las Vegas. He saw a billboard of some rock type of, you know, show that was going on. And again, Doug Aldrich was on it, and he backed Doug again, which I think sucks. Now I'm going to get into what he said about Kiss. He bashed Kiss because of Tommy and Eric with the makeup. Now, I just want to say, I understand people out there love Tommy and Eric. They don't care. They support Kiss, and that's fine. I have no problem with that. You know? I don't like it. But at the same time, I love Monster. Monster, I love that album. I know a lot of people think I'm fucking nuts for that because a lot of people hate Monster. I can admit it. Which shows you, even if I'm against what the fuck they're doing with the makeup and shit, I think that they still write great fucking songs. So Monster, if you look at my review, I gave it a glowing review. I love Monster. So I don't really have anything against Tommy and Eric being in the band. I just have some against them being the Catman and Spaceman. And so does Dee Snider. So Dee Snider came out and bashed the shit, went back to Paul Stanley. Paul Stanley didn't even address what Dee Snider said. He just attacked Dee Snider, calling him a wannabe, which is funny because Dee's a wannabe, and you know, Fake Freely and Cheater Chris aren't wannabes. I mean, come on. They're dressed like two other people. Who's wannabes? You're in a band with... half your band is wannabes, and you're calling Dee a wannabe? Dee is not a wannabe. Dee kicks ass. Alright? He's a fucking original. He's one of the greatest frontmen ever. I think he's better than Paul Stanley. I'm not saying Paul Stanley's a bad frontman. I think, you know, vocally, you have to admit, man, Paul sounds like ass now. Dee Snider still got his fucking voice. And when Dee Snider came out and said, you know, because Dee Snider commented back because Paul called him a wannabe and called his band buffoons and all that. So Dee came out and said, hey man, let's take it to the stage, you know. I will bury you. And honestly, in my opinion, he will. He will bury Paul. That's just my opinion. But because I think Twisted Sister is an amazing, one of the greatest live acts you can see. If you don't like Twisted Sister, if you go see them, I guarantee they'll convert you. But if you don't like Twisted Sister and then you did see them, they didn't convert you, you're lying, man. Don't give me that bullshit. You know, if you saw Twisted Sister, they fucking kicked your ass. Nobody can follow Twisted Sister, in my opinion. And I witnessed that when I went to New Jersey like 2 years ago. And Twisted Sister, Dee Snider had to be early somewhere, so they kind of opened up. They were in the middle slot where it was, the opening act was, I forgot, some local band over there. Then the Rods, which I'd never seen before, and one of the reasons I went up there. Then Raven, who I worship Raven. Then Twisted Sister. And Twisted Sister stole the fucking show. And a band that I like, and I know a lot of people think they're a joke, but I really like this band. I'd never seen this band before. This is the first time seeing this band. I was so looking forward to it. Was Anvil followed Twisted Sister. And Anvil played a good show. They weren't bad, but Twisted Sister fucking buried them. And then the headline act was T.T. Quick, which was a reunion because that singer is now an Accept, but they reunited for this. This was for a hurricane, I forgot what hurricane it is, I'm sorry, but it was a hurricane, maybe Katrina, I don't know. But it was for a hurricane relief thing, and they were great. Anvil was great, but Twisted Sister demolished everybody. That's a band that is fucking vicious live. One of the greatest bands, and Dee Snider, one of the greatest frontmen ever. Very entertaining, very funny, and still has those pipes. Unlike Paul, okay? And here's my final thing that I want to say about all this. And I want you all to understand this. Because I put up that video the other day, Kiss Deluded, and a lot of people didn't like that. A lot of people loved it. A lot of people didn't like it. And I hear, the main thing I hear from people is like, God, get over it. This has been going on for 10 years, and you take the time to make a video, you know, about this. But here's the thing, that video has Paul saying it, that, you know, Kiss, the makeup should be only wore by the 4 originals. Then there's a little clip on there that Gene says, if it ain't the 4 originals, it's diluted. That's why I called Kiss Diluted. That's why I called it that. Now, here's my point. Dee pretty much said what Gene and Paul said. I mean, why are you people don't understand this, that are negative toward Dee, when Dee is just saying the same thing Gene and Paul said in that clip I just said? It's no different. I don't get it myself. And no, I don't think that Gene and Paul changed their mind about where they stand. No, because mark my words, when Kiss is gone, done with, I'm sure Gene and Paul are going to say the same thing they're saying about Eric Carr and Vinnie Vincent now. Oh, it wasn't right and it didn't work. Well, this ain't working either. And here's my final thing I want to say about Kiss. I don't know if I said this before, but I got to stress it again. A lot of people keep saying that Kiss is still huge. They're still playing stadiums and stuff like that, which is true. Because when Kiss leaves America, they play stadiums just like they did on the Creatures tour. On the Creatures tour, they played stadiums in South America. The same thing is happening now. Now, let me tell you something. I saw Kiss not co-headlining. I saw them on the Monster Tour at the Hollywood Casino, Hard Rock Casino, and the place wasn't even half full. I saw the Creatures tour. It was pretty much the same thing all over again. Kiss is dead in America unless they take a popular co-headlining tour. That's the fact, Jack. That's why Kiss tours America with a big co-headliner. Do the math. When they play Europe, they don't. Here, they have to do it. Why? Because they cannot fill up anything. What's happening to Kiss now in America is no different what happened to them during the Creatures era. And I know there's a lot of people out there, I'm not going to name names, but a lot of people like to show a picture of Kiss with a big stadium full of people behind them. Well, shit, you could have done that in 1982 and it still wouldn't have changed the fact that they were dead in the United States and they had to actually take off their makeup to go on. That's just a fact. Well, that's all I got to say. No, one more thing. And I think some of you are going to be happy about this because I've had a lot of people ask me to do this, and it's finally coming up, my friends. Day 1 of next month, what are we in September? So October 1st, I am going to put up my review, my long-awaited review of Space Invader. That's right. I just did it right now. I'm going to edit it all, but I'm going to put up this video first. So October 1st, watch my review of Space Invader. Talk to you later. Bye.